doesn't look like there's large crowds there anymore.
That's correct. So when we first got out on scene here, it was definitely much quieter than the location we'd been at previously. There've been some people out and about on the sidewalks, but generally not too many. The group just across the street on the corner there is probably the biggest we've seen, and there's not that many people over there. And really in the last 20 minutes or so that we've been on scene, the number of people out on the sidewalks watching what's going on have definitely started to dwindle. As these fire crews are packing up and leaving the scene, it appears that bystanders are doing the same.
All right, that's good news, I guess. Earlier, Alderman Khalif Rainey was talking, and he is the alderman for the district where the BP fire took place, in the area where all of this is taking place. And he spoke at the news conference, and let's just listen to all he had to say.
I represent this neighborhood. I represent Sherman Park, in which this officer-involved shooting occurred, and the following incidents ensued. You know, what I could say is this, is that the city has watched this particular neighborhood throughout the entire summer be a powder keg, from incidents in the park, from a murder at the gas station, from a shooting from the gas station owner at children. This entire community has sat back and witnessed how Milwaukee, Wisconsin has become the worst place to live for African Americans in the entire country. Now, this is the warning cry. And where do we go from here? Where do we go as a community from here? Do we continue with the inequities, the injustice, the unemployment, the undereducation that creates these byproducts that we see this evening? Do we continue that? And I thank you, Russell Stamper. I thank you for not letting us leave here without saying the truth. Something has to be done here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin to address these issues. The black people of Milwaukee are tired. They're tired of living under this oppression. This is their existence. This is their life. This is the life of their children. Now, what has happened tonight may have not been right. I'm not justifying that. But no one can deny the fact that there's problems, racial problems here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that have to be closely, not examined, but rectified. Rectify this immediately, because if you don't, this vision of downtown, all of that, you one day away. You one day away. Thank you.
The alderman from the 7th District, that is Khalif Rainey.
He had a lot to say, a lot on his mind, a lot on his heart. He was saying that things have to be rectified, and we will see what will happen. Alderman Stamper came up with some solutions, and he was saying that, of course, we have to put all of the resources together in this community and partner with people who want to make a difference. And we know from doing different stories and having contacts with people that there are a lot of people in this city who want to make a difference.
It is 1:02 in the morning. We began on our newscast, of course, on Saturday. It is now early Sunday. You are taking a live picture. This is 36th and Fond du Lac, right near the spot of where two businesses were burned, a beauty shop, the Jet Beauty Shop, and then you're looking right now at the BMO Harris Bradley Center, now it's getting late, now you know it's getting late, the BMO Harris Bank, and that is where you see there's some police officers in their armored helmets and chest protection there as well. We want to bring you back to the beginning of where this all started, and when we came to work today, the big story was all the violence that had happened overnight.
We had seen 9 shootings, and in a 12-hour period, 5 homicides. 5 people have been killed. And one of those homicides took place near where this officer-involved shooting.
Then at 3:30, Fox 6's Ashley Sears went down to the scene because that is where an officer-involved shooting happened. And we are told right now, Fox 6's Ashley Sears, you may be with the district attorney, John Chisholm. Ashley?
Ooh. Hello, I don't know if you can hear me right now.
Okay,
I'm
we can
live
hear you.
here with We're live here with District Attorney John Chisholm. I guess just to explain the situation, you're here at District 3 right now. What have you learned?
Well, what I was doing was giving an update on the officer-involved shooting investigation. I was there with my investigators earlier in the afternoon, throughout the early evening, and just updating the progress of that investigation, and then obviously being updated myself on other situations related to the civil disturbances and in relation to people being investigated and arrested, and making sure that we're ready to review those cases when they come in.
I know right now we're told 3 people have been arrested. They anticipate many more people being arrested. Explain just how the district attorney's office handles that.
Sure. So anytime a person's arrested, the investigation is put together by police officers, detectives. The case is brought to our office, and generally within 48 to 72 hours, we try to make a charging decision. And obviously, we're going to do that in these cases. It depends. It could be a whole array of very serious charges that come out of this.
And explain to me, going back to the officer-involved shooting, how does your office now move forward?
So this investigation is conducted by the Wisconsin Department of Justice, the Division of Criminal Investigation. What happens is we're on scene just to make sure that all of the necessary resources are there. That investigation has to be completed by DCI. They'll then present their findings to me, and I'll make a determination with respect to the justification for the shooting.
And I know it always varies in terms of timeline. How long does this take?
It varies. It varies. Sometimes we can get it done in a month or two. Sometimes it takes longer, depending on what kind of follow-up investigation is needed.
Can you explain just how your night has gone in terms of being briefed about, the situation that's been unfolding in the city?
Well, look, it's been a busy day, obviously. From the moment we were notified of the officer-involved shooting, we've been engaged in making sure that the investigation is done correctly, and then assisting in any other way we can with the other matters that are unfolding.
Have you had a chance to just kind of step back and take this in, and what are your thoughts on everything happening tonight?
Well, obviously, I'm extremely angry with the behavior of some individuals, and there's going to have to be some accountability for that.
Do you have a message for the city tonight?
Right. I believe that order is being restored, and we just ask every citizen to do what the vast majority of them do, which is maintain peace, maintain order, and take care of yourselves and your neighbors, and do so in a way that reflects the best of Milwaukee, not what we're seeing here tonight.
Thank you so much, DA John Chisholm.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for taking some time to speak with us. Obviously, a long night ahead, a long week ahead, and a lot of investigation taking place, as you heard DA Chisholm saying tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for getting that. I'm glad he talked to us about this.
Yeah, the unrest may not be over. We're getting reports. A caller says the liquor store is on fire at 48th and Burleigh. 48th and Burleigh. So we've seen fire crews moving around, and we're still trying to confirm that report, but there may still be some fires burning in the city of Milwaukee tonight as you look live at 36th and Fond du Lac, right on the main road there. Past this many times, and that's the bank there, and you could still see people hanging out. And here is a truck that has moved in very quickly, but someone getting out very slowly. Okay, as our camera now moves positions, Fox 6's Rachel Ballion, are you by the scene? Is there something going on in that direction?
We're moving a little bit closer in. We did see some additional police vehicles pull up. Looks like an armored vehicle. Some police officers got out. There was at least one canine with. We've heard them telling people to get out of the street, and you might be able to see now there's a large group. I don't know what's going on. Looks like they're putting somebody into the back of that police van. So yeah, we're trying to get a little bit closer to figure out what exactly is going on over here. This is right near 35th and Fond du Lac, so just about a block past the BMO Harris Bank that was previously on fire earlier this evening.
At least 2 people were put in that van, and one not really wanting to go in, that's for sure.
And you could see they were in the restraints there, so that looks like 2 people under arrest at this location, right near one of the scenes from the fire. The district attorney saying, I am extremely angry and there has to be accountability, and this will be a very difficult night to investigate. There are several crime scenes that are unfolding before our eyes. Of course, we have the officer-involved shooting. That's at 44th and Hour. That's where this all started, and that crime scene hasn't gone away. Investigators may still be at that area, and then over by Sherman Park, up by Hour in Sherman Park Boulevard there, we saw the gas station that was on fire. Right. And here we are at 36th and Fond du Lac, and now there's reports that there may be some other fires still burning in the city of Milwaukee. So keeping an eye on the situation. It just seems as the fire crews come in and put it out, that situation calms down and the trouble goes elsewhere.
Right, and again, with the fires, 35th and Burleigh, O'Reilly Auto Parts and another beauty supply store set on fire. So yeah, you're right. There's a lot to investigate, and that falls on top of the 5 homicides that we've had.
Right, and you can tell, it was midnight when police say we had 3 arrests. We hadn't seen anyone placed in a police vehicle under arrest until just now, live on our screen here. So you can tell this is still going on, still an active scene, and police are they're not just hanging out. They are still working this case, and they'll be working it through the night and through the days to come.
And Ashante Hamilton, the Common Council president, he was saying that, you know, I get it. We want to know what happened with the officer-involved shooting. We need to get the information. The information will come. Let's wait for it. In the meantime, let's work together and restore a sense of calm in our neighborhoods. And as we continue to talk about different fires in different locations, somebody's not calm. So it's one of those things where, okay, everybody, step back. Let's see if we can calm down.
Yeah.
For tonight, anyway. Just calm it down, and then we can work on these problems.
Right. And you know, young people, they're not going to listen to the police department tonight. They're not going to listen to members of the television screen talking it out. You know who they will listen to? Mom, Dad. Here's Mayor Barrett talking about that.
This is a situation where we are asking every resident of this community to do everything they can to help us restore order. And that means, again, and this is pointed directly at parents of young people, because you can see from the video there are a lot of young people who are congregating here. If you love your son, if you love your daughter, text them, call them, pull them by the ears, and get them home. Get them home right now before more damage is done. Because we do not want to see any more loss of life. We don't want to see any more injuries, and we're going to stay on this. Our police presence is going to be very strong. We're going to work with the community, and tomorrow we'll be meeting again with church leaders and community leaders because we're going to make an all-out effort to do everything we can to restore order. And this is something that is important to me as mayor. It's important to the city, and I want you to know that this is something that we're going to continue to work on very, very hard.
All right, as Barrett, we were playing that with Barrett, we're seeing more people being put in that van. So it looks like we can throw out that number of 3 arrests, just throw it out the window, because it looks like it's increasing tonight.
Might have seen it double before our eyes. It is 1:12 in the morning. Do you know where your children are? We play it every night on our newscast before the 10 o'clock news. It's now in the middle of the night, and if you don't know where your kids are tonight, this is a night you want them home. If they are staying with friends, you might not want to trust them that, oh yeah, I've just gone down the street tonight. You want to make sure they're safe. This could still be a very dangerous night, especially in the Sherman Park area where we're seeing this is all about a 10-block radius from each other, as this is this is a live picture on your right as our camera moves at 36th and Fond du Lac, and then you can see from the video earlier tonight, that was the BP gas station that caught fire. We saw a bus,
the shelter,
the bus shelter in the middle of the street, and there were the flames. We were told the fire crew working still on that scene, and we still see him on the live picture at 36th and Fond du Lac, where there's also a beauty shop and an O'Reilly's Auto Part that are also very close.
Absolutely, and it looks like I don't see them putting anybody else in restraints or loading them into the van, but the night is, I was about to say the night is still young, but it's getting kind of late.
It is getting late.
It's 1:13 in the morning right now, but people are still milling around, a few anyway.
There was one man missing tonight. The police chief from the city of Milwaukee, Ed Flynn, and there was a very good reason why he is not in the city of Milwaukee tonight. I want to go out to Fox 6's Ashley Sears. It sounds like the police chief is in Dallas tonight.
Yeah, we've heard that the police chief's mother-in-law had passed away, and he was in Dallas for a funeral. I want to talk about something right now. Remember the Coalition for Justice, the group born out of the Dontre Hamilton officer-involved shooting tonight. They're tweeting out, Riot is the language of the unheard, which is a quote from Martin Luther King. And they're asking people to meet at Sherman Park tomorrow at 8 a.m. to, they say, pray, clean, and hit the streets. So different community organizations weighing in on what's happening here tonight. I know that the mayor called on faith groups to come together and try and, restore calm to the city. Coalition for Justice tonight saying that they are working toward that. They want to clean up and pray in that park tomorrow at 8 a.m.
That's encouraging.
Or today, I should say.
Absolutely. That's encouraging. And I'm sure other organizations will come forward to, put a positive spin on everything that's happened and try to bring this community together. Because as the alderman said, there is some pain here.
The city is not going to solve this on its own. The churches aren't going to solve this on their own. If you're sitting home right now watching this and just feeling so angry and so upset that this is happening in our city, you may want to ask yourself, tomorrow when I wake up, what can I do to help? How can I volunteer? There are so many organizations in our city that do such great work in these neighborhoods with children who aren't growing up in the best of households and they're really being raised in some tough situations, and there are ways to help. There are ways you sitting at home can wake up tomorrow, and in the days ahead you can volunteer and help make a difference. And we really have some big issues to solve in our city, besides just the investigation that the police will be working on to try and catch some of the people who destroyed some of these businesses that there are people watching the screen right now who don't know where they are going to work on Monday morning. They don't know where the paycheck is going to come from because of what has happened here tonight, and they're going to need some help as well. We're going to have to rally around as a city and figure out how we can make sure this never happens again.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people who will be thinking, and it will probably be, may even be, a topic of discussion on Sunday morning from the pulpit. Some of our churches will be talking about this. As you heard the city leaders saying that they want to really partner with the faith community, and I think they want to do it as well. It's a reciprocal kind of thing. So we will see what happens. Hopefully from this night of a violent disturbance, there will come a lot of positives and things that will make Milwaukee proud.
Yeah, let's listen to Ashante Hamilton, what he told the press and our cameras earlier tonight.
Listen, our city is in turmoil tonight, and we all have to work together to restore a sense of calm to this neighborhood. And so we're calling on everyone. We're calling on everyone to do what they possibly can to help restore calm in these neighborhoods. Now, we understand the frustration that many people feel with the police-community relation situation that's happening nationally. But what we want to be able to do is to gather the information. And you have to understand that when we get some information, we're going to share it with the public. There's nothing to hide. We want to make sure that all of the information is going out to people in a timely manner, and we have to go through the process of finding justice.
Four businesses were destroyed tonight. Several cars, including police cars of the Milwaukee Police Department. We know one Milwaukee police officer injured after a brick went through his car, hit him in the head. He is now recovering at a local hospital. And now we are looking at live pictures of the Jet Beauty shop there right near 36th and Fond du Lac, another area where there was fire. I know AJ Bayapor, our reporter, was there, and did not look good from the inside. A lot of damage as there was a fire there, and you're seeing a closer look there.
You can see the window is broken.
And it looks like there's some damage inside as well. A lot of people will be cleaning up tomorrow. This all started on Friday night. It was a violent overnight from Friday into Saturday. Within just 12 hours, we had 9 shootings in the city. There were 5 homicides, including one very close to the gas station that burned down tonight. Then at 3:30 in the afternoon, a 10th shooting. This time it was an officer-involved shooting. Milwaukee police say 2 men were running away from the police officers. One of them had a stolen handgun, and a police officer from the Milwaukee Police Department fired his weapon, killing that individual. 3:30 in the afternoon, that is when we saw the crime scene start, and we saw investigators show up, and then the crowds, and that's really when we started to see things get out of hand, where we had to move our own crews away from the scene.
Yeah, for safety reasons. So a police officer actually told Ashley Sears, our reporter, it might be a good idea for you just to get out of that area. She did, and that was wise. A lot has happened since then, of course, the fires. And right now, we're near where that the BMO Harris bank, where that fire is, 36th and Fond du Lac, I believe. And that's where our Rachel Ballion is, right, Rachel?
That's correct. So myself and our photojournalist Andy Conkle have moved about 1 block down from the BMO Harris Bank. We are at about 35th and Fond du Lac, and that's where the police presence is now. The bank has basically cleared out, so that scene has pretty much been taken care of. But yeah, here at the intersection where we are, we've got several police vehicles and still several officers out in riot gear, and they're patrolling the street here.
So the bank is cleared out, and the Jet Beauty supply I see that was damaged, you know, that's pretty much cleared out as well. So what is happening further down at 35th and Fond du Lac? Why so much police presence?
I don't know the answer to that. What I can tell you is that, yeah, as the fire scene at the bank was wrapping up, we had some additional police officers and police vehicles come onto the scene here. They told people to get out of the street, and then that was shortly before he came to us live the last time, and you saw them putting a few people in the back of a police van, some people being arrested. What led to that situation, we don't exactly know. But again, all we heard was that police were telling people to get out of the street, and then shortly thereafter is when we saw them putting a few people in the back of that van.
Gotcha.
On scene tonight, District Attorney John Chisholm, he showed up, and our Ashley Sears just interviewed him. Let's listen to that interview.
We're live here with District Attorney John Chisholm. I guess just to explain the situation, you're here at District 3 right now. What have you learned?
Well, what I was doing was giving an update on the officer-involved shooting investigation. I was there with my investigators earlier in the afternoon throughout the early evening, and just updating the progress of that investigation, and then obviously being updated myself on other situations related to the civil disturbances and in relation to people being investigated and arrested, and making sure that we're ready to review those cases when they come in.
I know right now we're told 3 people have been arrested. They anticipate many more people being arrested. Explain just how the district attorney's office handles that.
Sure. So anytime a person's arrested, the investigation is put together by police officers, detectives. The case is brought to our office, and generally within 48 to 72 hours, we try to make a charging decision. And obviously, we're going to do that in these cases. It depends. It could be a whole array of very serious charges that come out of this.
And explain to me, going back to the officer-involved shooting, how does your office now move forward?
So this investigation is conducted by the Wisconsin Department of Justice, the Division of Criminal Investigation. What happens is we're on scene just to make sure that all of the necessary resources are there. That investigation has to be completed by DCI. They'll then present their findings to me, and I'll make a determination with respect to the justification for the shooting.
And I know it always varies in terms of timeline. How long does this take?
It varies. It varies. Sometimes we can get it done in a month or two. Sometimes it takes longer, depending on what kind of follow-up investigation is needed.
Can you explain just how your night has gone in terms of being briefed about, the situation that's been unfolding in the city?
Well, look, it's been a busy day, obviously. From the moment we were notified of the officer-involved shooting, we've been engaged in making sure that the investigation is done correctly and then assisting in any other way we can with the other matters that are unfolding.
Have you had a chance to just kind of step back and take this in, and what are your thoughts on everything happening tonight?
Well, obviously, I'm extremely angry with the behavior of some individuals, and there's going to have to be some accountability for that.
Do you have a message for the city tonight?
Right. I believe that order is being restored, and we just ask every citizen to do what the vast majority of them do, which is maintain peace, maintain order, and take care of yourselves and your neighbors, and do so in a way that reflects the best of Milwaukee, not what we're seeing here tonight.
Thank you so much, DA John Chisholm.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for taking some time to speak with us. Obviously, a long night ahead.
Absolutely. He brings up a good point. There are two different things that you have to think about. The people who broke the law, there's justice, there's the criminal system. They have to be held accountable for that. And then there's that other side, more of the social, to deal with the underlying kind of problems that are going on.
And that's what the aldermen earlier at the news conference were talking about. Yeah. One of the aldermen sharing text from a friend, trying to understand why this happened, and that's so important as well, not just to prosecute those who have ruined some of the businesses, but to understand the underlying issues. And he was saying some of these young people just feel so helpless, and that is when fires get started. Obviously, he was not saying he was condoning that action, but saying this is why it happened. And that is an important takeaway that we will be talking about in the coming days. Why did people burn down businesses? Why do they feel so angry at some of our police officers who are protecting everyday citizens that we're people seeing here? You're seeing a live picture now. We did see some people getting taken away earlier, and this looks like another man who's being detained and questioned over there near 36th and Fond du Lac, where there are a couple businesses that caught fire. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was about to say, and we don't know why this person is being detained or the others. It could be just as simple as not following instructions and getting out of there when they were told to.
Right, and sometimes police will take someone into the car, they'll question them, and then they'll be released on the spot. So I know we're seeing some images on your screen, but you need to understand that there's an investigation that takes place with every time they stop somebody and question them and put them in restraints.
Alderman Stamper talked about what we need to do, the partnership that needs to take place. Let's listen to him.
We're going to put resources in this budget. I'm on finance. We're going to put resources in this budget, and CBDG is going to work towards organizing this neighborhoods, involving the pastors. Yes, the pastors are a big part of this community. They are the strength of this community. And we're going to partner with people who want to make a difference. Thank you very much.
The pastors who are about to get to work on this Sunday morning, hours away from their church sermons now.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're quite concerned. And I'm sure that a lot of them already work in their community, and this may just be the incentive to just ramp it up just a little bit more because the need seems to be quite great.
We must remember what started this all, an officer-involved shooting after a very violent night in Milwaukee where we saw 5 homicides. We did learn some more information at midnight from the Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett saying a 23-year-old man was shot and that the shooting, the police department believes, was captured on body camera. Then the mayor saying things really getting out of control thanks to social media. The numbers, they're wide-ranging, but hundreds of kids, anywhere between 200 and 800 kids.
200 and 800 is what he
they're
said.
all, and I'm saying kids, I'm saying some young people, and obviously there's probably some adults thrown in the mix as well. But
right, he was just talking about how effective this social media is because it happened very quickly. They came very quickly, and they were there in high numbers. And when you get all those people together, that's when you can have some problems.
Yeah, and Fox 6's Ashley Sears, she was down there when the crowd started growing and things really started to get out of control. And Ashley, I know you were told it might be smart to leave the scene because really the police knew that this was becoming a big issue, one that they didn't want to see you or really anyone in the community get hurt by, right?
Yeah, Ben, tension really started brewing from the time we got to the scene around 4 o'clock when we saw the family arrive and started arguing. They began yelling at police, trying to cross the tape, and police were telling them to stay back. So our initial interaction with police was probably around 4:45 when police said you might want to move a couple blocks away, and that's when we got a media briefing. Fast forward a few hours later, we saw crowds grow. We saw more police head to the scene. We saw riot gear being taken out, and at that point, around probably 7:30 or so, an officer told us that, you know, we're going to head out. You guys probably should head out too because it's not that safe for you to be here, and that's when we left the scene.
And just to make it clear, we're not trying to say that the family started this in any way, because they were there, they were distraught with their loved one.
The police made a point of saying the people in the neighborhood weren't even involved.
Right.
That social media calls, this sounded like people came from other areas, right, Ashley?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's common on police scenes to see very, emotions running high. In no way are we saying the family is responsible for any of this. People took this upon themselves as the crowds began to grow. You said on social media there were calls for more people to head down to that area. One city leader tonight saying that there were anywhere from 200 to 800 people down there answering that call on social media to meet up, and it spiraled out of control from there.
And during the news conference, Assistant Chief James Harpole, he talked about the social media element to all of this.
The crowd grew rapidly. The use of social media, as the mayor mentioned, to, get additional people to the scene, it was amazing just how in such a short period of time, how many people actually showed up. I also think it's really important to note that the neighborhood itself where the shooting occurred was not the source of the individuals that arrived. Individuals came from other places. The neighborhood itself, the block that this incident occurred on, was very calm, and the residents on that block were very respectful and courteous and polite and allowed the police to conduct the investigation, did not interfere, and were helpful with information as we had several witnesses.
State Representative Mandela Barnes just tweeting out, he's watching this coverage late at night. Anyone from Milwaukee saw this coming. It was always when, not if, no concrete steps to make sure it would never. That is coming from the State Representative Mandela Barnes on Twitter tonight.
All right. So there's a lot of discussion and probably a lot of committees, and people will come together and try to figure out what brought this on, what steps need to be made to make sure it doesn't happen again, and ways to help with this hopelessness that the alderman talked about.
Ashante Hampton saying our city is in turmoil tonight. We're calling on everyone to restore calm. The mayor earlier saying the best thing you can do right now if you're a parent in the city of Milwaukee, grab your kid, even if it's by the ear, and bring them home tonight. Does look like at this scene here at 36th and Fond du Lac, where we did see a bank that were damaged as well as a beauty shop, that this area seems to be calm. Unclear why we've seen several people in restraints in this area. We're still working to get information on that. But the police taking their helmets off, that's always a good sign that they feel pretty calm, and they've had a tough night as well. Just imagine walking around in a helmet for several hours. That's not an easy job. Our law enforcement never have an easy job, and their job most difficult on nights like tonight.
Yeah, the potential of danger is always there, but in situations like this, it seems to be heightened.
Take everyone back. 9 shootings, 5 homicides.
In 12 hours.
In 12 hours. That was going to be our headline tonight. Then an officer-involved shooting happened. most of these homicides all happening in a general area on the city's northwest side. Sherman Park, the bullseye, when at 3:30 an officer-involved shooting happened, and then the word, according to police, got out on social media that people should start showing up. We saw bricks started to be thrown at some of our colleagues, journalists. We then saw bricks directed right towards police officers. One Milwaukee police officer was hit in the head with a brick tonight. He is recovering at a local hospital. And then we saw the fire start. First, a Milwaukee police car went up, then another vehicle, and then a BP gas station. In total tonight, 4 businesses may have been lost. They've all been damaged. The fire department looks like they have now put all of those fires out, and they have moved on. Mostly, we have seen some of the fire trucks leave, but it has just been not the night we expected, even though we knew it was a bad start to the weekend with our news, especially in these neighborhoods in Milwaukee.
Right, and all the good law-abiding citizens in this neighborhood, I'm sure they're just looking at this stuff in horror. You know, what is happening to my neighborhood?
Right.
Barrett talked about these neighbors.
We tell them that we have a strong police presence there. We're going to have a strong police presence there tomorrow. We're going to do everything we can, and we are going to make sure that order is restored in this very, very good neighborhood. This is a neighborhood where there's a lot of people who have lived there 30, 40, 50 years. They deserve to live in a safe neighborhood, and we're going to do everything we can to make that possible.
All right, that is Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett talking about the neighborhood and the residents who live in it. Good neighborhood, good citizens, and, you know, they're just right now in a bad situation.
And it is still not a safe night out there. I want to read you a tweet that just came in from our AJ Bayapur. He says, just heard about 10 shots to the west. I'm at 35th an hour. 10 shots to the west. I'm at 35th an hour, coming from our own AJ Bayapur. So there is still a possibility of things happening in the city, and this is a night that you really want to, especially if your kids, you don't know where they are yet, you want to bring them home. The mayor's saying that, aldermen saying that, and again, we talked about it. People who are young and they're upset, they're not going to listen to the police officers who are out there tonight. They will listen to mom, and they will listen to dad. Right,
and as the mayor said, just tell them, you know, hey, text them, call them, pull them by the ear, tell them to come home. It's time to be home. And then the other important thing too is, you know, AJ is talking about shots. He's hearing shots being fired, and just for curious, you know, bystanders, onlookers, gawkers, this is not a good time for that. Just go inside.
There are some angry people out there tonight. Fox 6's Rachel Ballion is here right at 36th and Fond du Lac, and it does not look like you're seeing the same police activity that you were seeing before, where we saw people being put into restraints. What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, that's correct. So it's definitely quieter than it was before. We've got fewer police vehicles right in the intersection here. We do still have a couple of groups of police officers in riot gear that are just up the street on Fond du Lac here. And so that's the majority of the police presence we're still seeing at this time, but for the most part, they're just kind of, I don't know if they're standing around game planning or just comparing notes or what, but definitely not as active as a scene as we had seen, you know, within the last half hour.
Wow, looking at that video that we're seeing, well, it's not video, it's live shots. It is. I mean, everybody's gone almost.
Eerily quiet.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how when we've changed scenes, Rachel was closer to the BP gas station up at Sherman Park earlier tonight, and it was a very loud scene. Then all of a sudden, everyone left. We could actually hear birds in her live shot. It's almost like if there were any birds around this area, we would hear them as well, as you see some of the police officers still patrolling that area. Can't be lost what started it. An officer-involved shooting, and that investigation continues. Since a Milwaukee police officer was involved and someone was killed, that is now the state who investigates that. We did learn it was a 23-year-old man, a 23-year-old suspect who was killed. They say he had a handgun that was stolen from a Waukesha burglary.
Right, and the mayor mentioned that he was shot twice, once in the chest and once in the arm. And he was fleeing the officer, he said, and it turned out he had 23 rounds in a gun. And at some point, the officer fired and shot him and killed him. We were talking about all the destruction that went on, and I was taking my notes, and I know you were too, but there was a civilian car that was burned.
And it looks like a few might have been caught up at the gas station as well.
And then a squad car destroyed, and it looks like 2 more with broken windows, and that's when one of the officers was injured because of, I guess, a brick went through the windshield and struck him. And he is in the hospital recovering. And of course, we had the major fire at the BP gas station, and then 3 more businesses and possibly more.
And we saw a bus shelter sitting in the middle of the road.
And it looked like a traffic light was, knocked over. So it has been a very disturbing and a violent night tonight.
And Alderman Khalif Rainey speaking on that. Let's hear him.
I represent this neighborhood. I represent Sherman Park, in which this officer-involved shooting occurred, and the following incidents ensued. What I could say is this, is that the city has watched this particular neighborhood throughout the entire summer be a powder keg, from incidents in the park, from a murder at the gas station, from a shooting from the gas station owner at children. This entire community has sat back and witnessed how Milwaukee, Wisconsin has become the worst place to live for African Americans in the entire country. Now, this is the warning cry. And where do we go from here? Where do we go as a community from here? Do we continue with the inequities, the injustice, the unemployment, the undereducation that creates these byproducts that we see this evening? Do we continue that? And I thank you, Russell Stamper. I thank you for not letting us leave here without saying the truth. Something has to be done here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin to address these issues. The black people of Milwaukee are tired. They're tired of living under this oppression. This is their existence. This is their life. This is the life of their children. Now, what have happened tonight may have not been right. I'm not justifying that. But no one can deny the fact that there's problems, racial problems here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that have to be closely, not examined, but rectified. Rectify this immediately. Because if you don't, this vision of downtown, all of that, you one day away. You one day away. Thank you.
Khalif Rainey there, the alderman. I just got a report in from one of our photojournalists who was on the east side tonight. Says he was on a rooftop and he could smell the smoke and see the haze. And sometimes we forget how close these neighborhoods are to each other. And those are 2 very different neighborhoods, the east side and then the northwest side of Milwaukee. And we live in the same city. And sometimes we do not remember that, and we don't think of the people who live in communities that are very different, but makes Milwaukee a special place. Sherman Park, the mayor talking about it, a great neighborhood.
Right.
A great African-American neighborhood for so many who've lived there for decades as well, and they are seeing this tonight. And then even if you live on the east side of Milwaukee, you're feeling it tonight with the smoke, and you just have to remember how closely we all live to one another, even though sometimes we don't all travel and we're not as close as we should be at this point.
Right. We're looking at video on the left side of your screen. I think, is that the video from the O'Reilly's? Okay, it is the O'Reilly auto body parts store that caught on fire, and that is video, and we hadn't seen that earlier. So that is just one of maybe 4 businesses that we know of that have been set on fire.
Just saw a tweet from AJ Biapor, who's at 35th an hour earlier. He now reports he's seeing 2 arrests were made there, and one of the inspectors from the Milwaukee Police Department on scene there who is very angry. Actually, it's Inspector Jackson, who, for those of us in the media, he's a very calm guy, shows up to a lot of the big homicide scenes, and he's very relaxed and calm, and AJ Biapor says he has never seen him so angry. I just imagine this must be a frustrating night for everybody on the from the police department and the Milwaukee Fire Department who couldn't fight some of the fires tonight.
Because they couldn't get in. The shots, gunfire, it wasn't safe, so they didn't get in, didn't go in, and bricks being thrown at the fire truck, so they didn't go in, and they didn't go in until it was safe. And finally, you know, they were allowed to go in. But like the BP fire, that went on for a while before they were able to go in.
It basically burned itself
Yeah.
out, and it was, we heard police officers telling people to back away because it might explode, and it had already been burning for probably over an hour at that point. Here you can see Milwaukee police officers patrolling the streets. So many times when these things happen, there are looting concerns, and we are seeing officers make their way around neighborhoods, and they want to make sure, I mean, really everybody, especially in the Sherman Park neighborhood and the blocks around it, should not be out and about tonight. It is a dangerous night to do that. But officers continue to patrol the streets and they work their way up and around the neighborhoods.
And Mayor Barrett said there would be a strong presence tonight and tomorrow. So this may be what we see all night long. Them just kind of walking, patrolling the neighborhood, making sure that things are okay.
And then Ashley Sears was saying the Coalition for Justice, the group that came out of the Dontre Hamilton situation. Here is their tweet. Riot is the language of the unheard. Milwaukee meet tomorrow at Sherman Park at 8 a.m. to pray, clean, and hit the streets. Why don't we go to Fox 6's Ashley Sears? And Ashley, I know you've... Oh, sorry, we don't have Ashley right now. But she was talking about how there are groups that 8 in the morning, we're getting closer and closer to 8 in the morning.
Yeah, we are.
Of people who want to get out and they're going to help their community. And in the long term, there's probably something we can all do to make make the city of Milwaukee better. But tomorrow we may see a visual sign of that as people get out brooms and shovels and clean up the mess that has been made tonight.
Boy, that would be an encouraging scene, wouldn't it? Yeah.
We could use it after tonight.
Absolutely, we sure could. 15 minutes to 2 a.m. And things are much, much calmer than they were from a few hours ago.
And this is a live scene. It's a very busy street. And sometimes, let's say you don't even live in Milwaukee, you would take Fond du Lac Avenue to move through. If you're going, let's say, the Menominee Falls through Milwaukee, you would take Fond du Lac. This is right in that main corridor just west of I-43. There's obviously, you can see the fast food restaurants there. There's the BMO Harris Bank, which is in a pretty beautiful building, actually, a historic stone building there. That is where a fire happened tonight. We also know a Jet Beauty supply shop right in this area has been hit. Also, an O'Reilly Auto Parts store, and that's separate from where we saw the first fire.
Right. And this is a time when I know it's summertime and school is out and kids don't have to get up and go to school and that kind of thing, so they stay up a little later. It's getting closer to school, so you might want to change that pattern. But at 1:46, if your child is not at home, you should be concerned. Here is what Mayor Barrett had to say about that.
This is a situation where we are asking every resident of this community to do everything they can to help us restore order. And that means, again, and this is pointed directly at parents of young people, because you can see from the video there are a lot of young people who are congregating here. If you love your son, if you love your daughter, text them, call them, pull them by the ears, and get them home. Get them home right now before more damage is done. Because we do not want to see any more loss of life. We don't want to see any more injuries. And we're going to stay on this. Our police presence is going to be very strong. We're going to work with the community, and tomorrow we'll be meeting again with church leaders and community leaders because we're going to make an all-out effort to do everything we can to restore order. And this is something that is important to me as mayor. It's important to the city. And I want you to know that this is something that we're going to continue to work on very, very hard.
This is still a scary night in Milwaukee. I want to read you a tweet from Fox 6's Ashley Sears. She's at District 3. That's where the press conference happened tonight. She said, we had to run inside District 3, a car drive behind our live shot, so a car driving behind them, someone wearing a mask looked like it were pointing a gun at them. So they had to move inside as they saw someone with a mask and possibly a gun as they were part of our live coverage here on air. So that's why we haven't heard from Ashley Sears in a bit, as they are now safely inside the police headquarters, and she has posted a picture on Twitter at Ashley Sears 6 if you want to take a look. Police are outside with guns checking the perimeter, so even tense moments away from this scene. This is Police District 3 tonight, where obviously tense moments for our crews is safety a priority for us. Another time that Ashley had to move away because of some dangerous situation out there on the streets of Milwaukee.
All right. And Common Council President Ashanti Hamilton talked about the need for calmness, a need for the city to be calm. Let's hear him.
Listen, our city is in turmoil tonight, and we all have to work together to restore a sense of calm to this neighborhood. And so we're calling on everyone. We're calling on everyone to do what they possibly can to help restore calm in these neighborhoods. Now, we understand the frustration that many people feel with the police-community relation situation that's happening nationally. But what we want to be able to do is to gather the information. And you have to understand that when we get some information, we're going to share it with the public. There's nothing to hide. We want to make sure that all of the information is going out to people in a timely manner, and we have to go through the process of finding justice.
And Justice and D.A. Chisholm said, you know, that's what he will be looking for, and people will have to be held accountable for the disturbances that have taken place.
Let's head out to Fox 6's Rachel Ballion. She is live right now, right here near 36th and Fond du Lac. And I just want you to paint the picture. There were a couple of businesses right where you are that were affected by this tonight, right, Rachel?
That's correct. And so the scene out here has gotten considerably more quiet than it was earlier this evening. So we've got two businesses, one that's you're able to see right now here on the corner, showing some very visible signs of damage to the front window there, and you can see that the side door is open. On the upper level as well, it looks like some of the windows have been bashed in. And then kind of kitty corner from there, about a block back, we have the BMO Harris Bank building, and our photographer is spinning over in that direction now, which the biggest sign of that anything happened over there, you can see all along that right-hand side, the glass has been punctured out. Fire crews left the scene there a little bit ago, and then we had police show up on scene, and now even the police numbers out here are starting to dwindle. We've got about 3 sections of groups of police that are kind of near this intersection, but for the most part, it looks like the first responders are just kind of talking amongst themselves, and it's definitely not the active scene that it was when we first got out here.
Very good. Well, you know, as the clock ticks, I think people are getting tired, maybe.
They are getting tired. We're seeing reports from around the world now. This is from the BBC News. Milwaukee shooting, violence erupt over U.S. police killing. Obviously, the story is more complicated than that, and we've been telling you that all night after the violence we've seen this weekend. But international news outlets picking up what's happening here in Milwaukee. They're not only going to be watching tonight, they're going to watch how our city responds to this.
And that could be a really good story that they could tell.
This is not the city of Milwaukee that we know.
Right. If Milwaukee responds well and people come together, as the aldermen were mentioning, come together, put their resources together to make a change, make a difference, then that is a story that we would like the BBC to tell.
Milwaukee is a place that obviously has some issues. We have some problems, but this is a place that we call home. We live here for a reason. Milwaukee is a special place, and we live here for a reason. It's beautiful, and we have unique people, and this city has seen quite a turnaround from the days where we were losing businesses, and we've seen such growth in parts. But we need to solve these issues, and the best way we need to do it is together. Right, absolutely. Because Milwaukee, the city, has a lot to offer. We just have to make sure that it's offering it to everybody. Let's look at some of the tweets that Ashley popped up earlier that you were talking about. And there is one, and she
was talking about the fact that you read it. We had to run inside District 3. A car drove by behind our live shot. Someone wearing a mask looked to be pointing a gun at us. And then police are outside with guns checking the perimeter.
And it's good to see she is safely inside District 3 Police Headquarters. That was the police district where they held some of these press conferences, or the midnight press conference. It's the last time we've really heard from police tonight. But a tense situation there as well, and not a safe night if you don't know where your kids are. At this point in the night, we're almost at 2 o'clock on Sunday morning, and you really, if you're not staring at your kid right now, it's time to go out and bring them home, as the mayor was saying. Grab them by the ear.
Yeah, and bring them home. And you know, it's a good time for anybody to be home right now. This is a tense night, and it might be a good idea to just call it a night and just go home.
Tonight that everyone, hopefully at this point, you're in bed. That's where you should be.
True.
That's where we all should be at this point.
That is true. Seems like the officers don't have much to do tonight, and that is a good thing. They don't have much to do right now. Just kind of standing there looking, and the streets look pretty empty, and that's a good sign. There's another group talking, strategizing, deciding what they're going to do.
Yeah, and that's a good sign that you're seeing many of them not wearing those helmets anymore, and that just shows you how this scene has calmed down at 36th and Fond du Lac. I do want to play that sound again from Mayor Barrett talking about the situation earlier.
This is a situation where we are asking every resident of this community to do everything they can to help us restore order. And that means, again, and this is pointed directly at parents of young people, because you can see from the video there are a lot of young people who are congregating here. If you love your son, if you love your daughter, text them, call them, pull them by the ears, and get them home. Get them home right now before more damage is done. Because we do not want to see any more loss of life. We don't want to see any more injuries, and we're going to stay on this. Our police presence is going to be very strong. We're going to work with the community, and tomorrow we'll be meeting again with church leaders and community leaders, because we're going to make an all-out effort to do everything we can to restore order. And this is something that is important to me as mayor. It's important to the city, and I want you to know that this is something that we're going to continue to work on very, very hard.
That is so true. You know, we don't want to see any more loss of life, and that's a very, very good statement.
And we've seen a lot of it this weekend. This really started with 5 homicides, completely unrelated to the Milwaukee police shooting that happened this afternoon, yesterday afternoon, now on Saturday. There were 9 shootings
yeah.
in 12 hours between Friday and Saturday, and then at 3:30, the officer-involved shooting. And there are people in the Sherman Park neighborhood who have dealt with a homicide in the last 24 hours, and then that officer-involved shooting. They have seen some of their businesses in their neighborhoods gone. There are people who do not know where they're going to work on Monday. They don't. Their livelihood went up in flames tonight. There will be no paycheck come next week, and they're going to have to solve this. This didn't take long to really make a mess of these streets tonight. It will take a while to clean it all up.
So it's important to get behind or get to the root of the problem so this does not happen, because when things like this happen, it has a ripple effect, and it affects the entire city in a bad way.
Right side of your screen, that's the live picture, 36th and Fond du Lac. Left side of your screen, that was earlier tonight. That was up by Sherman Park, and that is the BP gas station that was burning. We know the damage now, and it may be growing when the sun comes up tomorrow, but we know at least 4 businesses lit on fire, several cars also lit on fire, including a Milwaukee police squad. We know 1 Milwaukee police officer suffered a head injury when a brick came through his window. When he was sitting in his squad car. He was taken to the hospital, and he is being treated for those injuries. We have not gotten an update on how bad his injuries are or what his condition is right now. We're still working to do that. You're seeing police move their resources around, as we've seen all night long, as that police van makes its way out. And I will say, I think we're seeing a lot less officers in this area than we saw earlier.
A lot of people are disturbed by the pictures and what's happened tonight, and actually angry. One of them being District Attorney John Chisholm. Listen to him.
Well, look, it's been a busy day, obviously. From the moment we were notified of the officer-involved shooting, we've been engaged in making sure that the investigation is done correctly and then assisting in any other way we can with the other matters that are unfolding.
Have you had a chance to just kind of step back and take this in, and what are your thoughts on everything happening tonight?
Well, obviously, I'm extremely angry with the behavior of some individuals, and there's going to have to be some accountability for that.
Do you have a message for the city tonight?
Right. I believe that order is being restored, and we just ask every citizen to do what the vast majority of them do, which is